welcome to my channel. My name is Nat. Thank you so much for 100 subscribers. That was unexpected to say the least, and I'm extremely grateful that people have been enjoying my last video, which was the book club reviews Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. It was extremely fun to do, and we will definitely be doing Crooked Kingdom, so if that's what you're waiting for, then it'll be here in a couple of weeks. But again, thank you so much for deciding that you want to see my face and what I have to say about books. I know that, you know, for some people it's like 100 subscribers, that's practically nothing, but I really would like to get to know all of you and who has subscribed and why you've subscribed. So if you could leave a comment down below so we can get chatting, that would be really cool. But yeah, so today I'm going to be doing the 20 questions book tag. I thought it was quite fitting considering it's just a tag to get to know me better, at least in the literary sense. I also asked on Instagram to give me questions, and I'll be answering the ones that I've received here today as well. So again, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining in. I hope you find what you're looking for. And here is the 20 question book tag. Question 1. How many books are too many for a series? I don't think that there is really a limit to how many books are too many for a series as long as it's done right. I know for a fact that very often trilogies that are very, very popular right now are being written not as a trilogy but just as an extended book that the publisher decides it's better to split into 3 parts. And I think that is horrible. Don't do that. Please don't do that. As long as the story doesn't drag on and there is stuff that the author wants to lay out, then I think the more the better, right? A great example of that is the Temeraire series, which I would encourage everybody to go and read because it is amazing. It's about the Napoleonic Wars, but with a little twist, there are dragons. I can't say more, it's great. This series is being lent out to me by one of my best friends, and I'm so excited to read more of it. I think there are about 8 or 9 books in the series. It's very good. So that would be my answer. Question 2, how do you feel about cliffhangers? Yes and no. I think cliffhangers have their place. I think a well done cliffhanger really deserves a lot of praise, because if it's wrapped up and then a new plot point is brought in such a way that you're intrigued and it's not too cheesy and it's not an obvious lead on into a sequel, then I think those are brilliant. However, cliffhangers often have the problem that the book, the second book or the third book or whatever book comes after, starts off in a place that you don't really know where anything's happening, because they usually do the thing, right, where they don't just start off the story right from the place where the cliffhanger left off. They give you a bunch of backstory that kind of ease you in, and then all of a sudden they will bring you back to that plot point to explain it, and you're like, wow. But that means most of the time, because of the way that publishing works, that we don't get to see these characters for about a year plus, and by that point, if it's not a very memorable book, you just don't really remember what happened to lead up to that cliffhanger. Question 3, hardcover or paperback? I love both. Both are a form of books. I like getting hardcovers for books that I really like and I know that I will enjoy for a very, very long time, and I would like to support the author as well as have something pretty to have on my bookshelves. From a practical point of view, I have moved around a lot and will probably move around a lot, and bringing along all my books is quite weighty, and I don't have that much money to spend simply on shipping books. So paperbacks are just easier to move around with, and I prefer them for that reason, as well as I don't really mind if the spines get creased up and they've been read through a lot. It just gives the book character, in my opinion. So I like both for different reasons, but in the end they're all books, so if we like books, they're all really, really good. Number 4, favorite book. I have a couple of favorite books, one of which is The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater. Another one is this little niche book that I'm sure none of you have heard of, but it's very good. I would recommend checking it out, and it's called The Lord of the Rings by this new and upcoming author, J.R.R. Tolkien. Amazing. I hear that some movies have been made. There are also going to be some cinematic masterpieces there. But yeah, that's that other little niche book there. Those are the two that come off right off the top of my head. I definitely have a lot more top books, but if you ask me what books are you going to grab if there's a fire in your house and you need to run, those would probably be the two. Also, I will add here, because I've realized that Goodreads has manga. You could track manga on Goodreads, and a lot of booktubers are delving into manga. To tell you the truth, I've been a weeb for a very, very long time, so I might as well slip in manga. So I'm going to mention my favorite series of all time, and that is d.gray-man. If you want something that is dark, that is gothy, it has a very similar feel to Vampire Diaries. It has everything. Honestly, first of all, it's written by a woman, as is Fullmetal Alchemist, which is another niche anime that I'm sure nobody has heard about, and that is my other favorite manga series. They're very similar. Both are involve our world in some way. Fullmetal Alchemist is about a boy who tries to go against the laws of nature and pays for it with his body as well as his brothers, and is now trying to set things right. d.gray-man is the world is being overrun by demons, as it's translated, and an order of exorcists need to prevent that from happening, but as we now know, not everything is as simple as it seems. Therefore, Scorpio Races, The Lord of the Rings, Fullmetal Alchemist, and d.gray-man are where I'm going to direct your attention, and please, please, please go and check them out. They are all very, very good pieces of literature. Question number 5, least favorite book. So this was actually asked on Instagram as well, so I'm going to be answering that all at the same time. Least favorite book. I don't think I have one. I don't think I have a book that I just absolutely loathe. I do have least favorite books, and those are ones which are just poorly written. I honestly think that poorly written books upset me so much more than they should, just because, one, I feel like they're wasting paper. Two, some really good stories aren't getting published, and yet these ones are. I think that's kind of the unfairness of it all really does rub me the wrong way here as well. And thirdly, it just feels like I wasted a bit of time after I finished them, even though I understand that by reading bad books, at least the books that I view as bad, in my opinion, because again, I feel like a lot of it is subjective, though bad writing, I feel, should be objective, and people shouldn't just be like, oh, but it's good, yeah, I enjoyed it. No, if the writing is actually bad, that makes up a bad book. That your enjoyment can be a 10 out of 10, but the writing can be a 1 out of 10. So you shouldn't really equate objectivity and subjectivity here. Anyway, rant aside, but least favorite books would have to be books that just are not well written, don't really have an engaging plot, fall flat, and really show how the publishing industry does let some really subpar literature be published. That's, yeah. Question number 6. Love triangles, yes or no? I am super basic, and I'm going to say yes. Love triangles are great if they're executed properly, and by executed properly, I mean 1, it's not always the guy who is new. I hate that trope, and the trope I'm talking about is there's a pair of childhood friends, and then all of a sudden this new guy comes in, and he's, you know, broody and dark and mysterious, and for some godforsaken reason, the main character, usually the female, the main character looks at him and just falls completely in love with him with no basis. This trope would work if there is a couple of books, you see how they develop, you kind of have some kind of standing behind this, and then you're like, all right, yeah, she's better suited for this new guy than the guy who has been her childhood friend, and she also has feelings for him. I mean, now that I think about it, honestly, I'm just ranting about the Matched series. One of the few series that I DNF'd because I cannot stand what's happening in it from the romantic perspective, and it's also very flat, just in general. Yes, I need to tone it down. I realize I'm getting really worked up about bad love triangles, but yes, love triangles if they're done properly, because you can get some really awful stuff. I also think, you know, people have two hands. Why not both? Just Just saying. Question number 7, what is the most recent book that you could not finish? I have not DNF'd a book in a very long time. I have done so with a series, and that is the Match series, which was about 6 months ago. But for books, I am trawling through them to try and get to the end, and there are 2 at the moment that I am really proper struggling with. The first one is A Christmas at Lilac Cottage, I think. This book, I mentioned it 2 or 3 videos ago when I was doing a wrap-up. I think it was in the January wrap-up as my carry-on. I'm still reading it. It's still awful, but I am going to get to the end. The second one that I'm trying to get through is a book called Emergency Contact. It was written by an American-born Chinese author, I believe, and it's about these 2 college kids, one of which is going to college and the other one is working because he can't afford college, but they become each other's emergency contact and essentially get to know each other through text. Now, because I have a story idea which relies on textual communication, I wanted to see what other authors did with that. And I also wanted to embrace the Valentine's Day Lunar New Year spirit which the book promised, and I also have had a lot of friendships online, so I wanted to see exactly how it is done in a book. The first chapters, however, are super rough. Unbelievably rough. The writing is very juvenile, extremely juvenile for the ages of the characters, and the current female protagonist is extremely shallow and unrelatable. I don't know if this is because she's American, not that I'm calling Americans shallow, please don't misunderstand, but it has this very stereotypical shallow girl, head empty kind of vibe, and it's really leaning towards the I'm not like the other girls trope, which we're all like the other girls, and we should be, because we should be supporting and making sure that we all know that we can achieve what we want to, and it doesn't mean that we have to be different. Not different in the sense of, I have this very quirky, unique thing. Like, we're all different already. There's no need to try and make girls shit on other girls for being cool. But these 2 books, really trying my patience, probably going to finish them, but they are the closest to a DNF that I have. This kind of ties down to question 9. What is a book that you're currently reading? I already mentioned The Christmas at Lilac Cottage and Emergency Connection. Something else would be Crooked Kingdom, but if you've seen the other video, then you know, so I guess I can mention this book called Beyond the Known. It is a non-fiction book about the human urge to explore and how exploration has made us who we are from the inception of humankind to where we are today. It's a very good book. I'm enjoying it a lot, and it weighs out the Christmas Cottage at the moment pretty well. What is the last book that you've recommended to someone? I recommended d.gray-man just earlier this morning, so that will be my cheeky answer for this question. But realistically, the last book that I recommended to someone was probably... You know, I don't think I can actually answer this question because I'm part of a book club that a lot of people ask for recommendations, and I sometimes come in and sit there for half an hour and just give people recommendations, just because I used to work at Waterstones for a bit, and I realized that one of my favorite parts of the job were people coming in and asking what I could recommend them while giving me something to bounce off. I really like doing that, so that was very good. I definitely did that recently. But for book, I think it must have been the Scorpio Races, because I sent that book to my pen pal, and I would assume that that was the last direct recommendation for somebody close to me that I've done. Question 10, oldest book that you read by publication date? That would have to be Robinson Crusoe. I'm sure that it was written in the 18th century, but I've read plenty of classics. I think it must be Robinson Crusoe, Treasure Island, Count of Monte Cristo, so I will find out which one of these is the oldest one and then just put the title up in the video as well. Question 11, what is the newest book you've read by publication date? I am not sure. Honestly, I don't know. I don't follow newest releases that much. I know a book that I would like to read that was just released, and that is the sequel to Throne of Swans. Very good fantasy YA by two UK authors. And the sequel, which I think is the Crown of Talons. I think that's what it's called, Crown of Talons. That's what I would like to read, but I don't remember. Question 12, favorite author? Maggie Stiefvater. I don't think I need to explain. Yeah, Maggie Stiefvater, honestly. Question 13, buying books or borrowing books? I do both. I like to buy books when I know that I will enjoy the book, or from Insta-buy authors such as Maggie Stiefvater and Lucy Christopher, as well as Gail Forman used to be. I'm not sure. I think I'm up to date with all of her books, but maybe not. So there are a couple of authors that I definitely just like, you release it, I buy it because I know that I'll like it. However, I do genuinely enjoy borrowing books, especially from the library, because it's like going out shopping for books, but you're not paying any money. So you can haul back 10 books and you've spent nothing, or like the fare for the tram. It's amazing. I love libraries. Question 14, a book you dislike that everybody seems to love. I wouldn't say dislike, I would say I don't understand the hype. And though the ones that come straight to mind are A Throne of Roses and Something by Sarah J. Maas, and A Darker Shade of Magic at the moment, because I think if it's done in a trilogy, I mean, we're supposed to read book 2 and 3, but at the moment it seems very disjointed and a very mistyped book that feels like YA without being YA, with just an extra couple of swear words thrown in. And anyway, those are at the top of my head that I definitely disagree with BookTube's fanfare around them. Question 15, bookmarks or dog ears? I prefer bookmarks. Honestly, dog ears are probably the one thing that I don't like doing in fictional books, but I'm completely fine doing them in nonfiction books, because I think nonfiction books are made there for us to learn things from, and I will do anything in order to retain information more easily. So I'm a little bit of both, you know? Question 16, a book that you can always reread. That will be Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. Question 17, can you read while listening to music? Yes, that is one of my superpowers. I sometimes can pick out a track or a playlist, usually instrumental. I think it has to be instrumental, although sometimes it doesn't have to be, and pop it in with my book, and it goes great. It's rare that I do it, because I think you do have to pick out the music to fit the book, but I can do it. Do I want to? Maybe. Can I? Yes. Question number 18, one point of view or multiple point of views? I don't care. I think as long as it works for the book, it's great. Multiple point of views allow you to see the story from different perspectives, whereas one point of view makes you really root for that character. If it's done well, it's done well. Just as long as it's a good book. Question 19, do you read a book in one sitting or over multiple days? I lean towards reading over multiple days these days, just because I'm extremely busy, and I think that we absorb information, and actually, I don't think, it's a proven fact, we absorb information better over an extended period of time. And I think that people, especially if you're one of them, and you know, if you've been wondering, oh, why do I read something and not retain the information? Probably the culprit is sitting and reading all of that in one go. It just usually doesn't work if you want to remember it, and I like remembering what I read, so I try and space it out, which is really easy considering that I'm super busy. However, if I'm in a really dreamy, tired mood, I can sometimes sit down early-ish in the evening and read late into the night to finish the book. I've done this a couple of times, and it's a completely different experience. I definitely don't remember the book almost at all. I remember what the book was. It was one of the To All the Boys I've Ever Loved. I think I read the sequel like this. I don't know. It just doesn't work for me for retaining information. And now that I'm reading more nonfiction books, I definitely space it out over several days. Question 20, who do I tag? I am going to say that it is going to be Becca. Once she reaches 100 subscribers. Becca, you gotta do this. If you want to help her do that, I think she has about 13 subscribers left to reach 100. She is Words and Other Malarkey. She is one of the lovely people that we had in our book club reviews. So if you liked her and her opinions there, then I would suggest checking her out. I would suggest checking her out just because she's a cool person, so you're free to do that if you so wish. Now, that has been it for the book tag. I realized it went on a lot longer than I thought. And to answer the 2 questions that I got on Instagram, because, you know, Instagram famous. The first one was, what is an expensive thing that I think is worth it, and where would you be if you could be right now, anywhere in the world? Answers to the first question would be, in the pragmatic sense, shoes. I think the older I get, the more I understand that proper foot support. Do not skimp out on shoes. Please don't. Get yourself really comfy shoes. It's not worth feeling uncomfortable, and it gives you a lot of problems with the rest of your body because that's where all your weight is concentrated on. If you think about it, don't do that. But from like a very pragmatic sense, what is expensive and worth it? I would say experiences. A lot of experiences are very expensive because of all the effort that has to go into creating them. I think that experiences are definitely expensive, but they are worth saving up for and worth spending on. Where would I be if I could be anywhere right now? I would be traveling. And if I had to be specific, I would either be in Scotland, or in Norway, or in Sweden, or in Canada, or in Korea, or in Japan, or in Singapore, or somewhere completely new. I would be somewhere traveling. New Zealand. I would be New Zealand. Thank you so much for watching this video if you watched it this far. I would love to hear about you and who you are and what you came to for this channel for. Again, I really want to try and make this more interactive than a lot of the other channels that I see on YouTube, just because, I mean, I'm just here talking about books and stationery and maybe a bit of travel, and yeah, I wanna make sure that people get something out of it as well. I have exams this next week, so wish me luck. But yeah, this has been me. Thank you so much for the 100 subscribers. Crooked Kingdom is being read, as I mentioned, and we will all rant about it some more in a couple of weeks, so stick around if you want to check that out. If you want to see my face and interact with me, you can click the subscribe button, that'd be cool. You can like this video and let me know if you liked it. You can dislike this video and let me know you didn't like it. You know what? Honestly, I just want feedback. Just let me know what you think. But yeah, I'm going to go make lunch because I have like 4 hours of lectures today. Zoom University is rough. They started putting stuff at like the oddest time slots because you're at home anyway, which honestly I have a problem with, but what can you do? Stay warm, stay cozy, stay safe. We got this. I will catch you in the next one. Hope you have a good week. Bye-bye.